Okay, so my apologies. I did not realize that I was muted on StreamYard, so I did my whole training and no one could hear me. So I thought I would record and I'll put this on Facebook. So let's try this again. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lou Perica. I thank you for joining me here today at Earn More and Live More. So, today's training is desire, goals, and autosuggestion. It is very powerful. And although time is limited, I ask that you do your best to have an open mind and consider what you're learning through this training and all the past trainings. What I share with you is powerful information that you're not really learning anywhere else. So listen up. And my intention for today's class is that it will resonate with you and create a spark in you to get you to consider that there's so much more to you that is going untapped. There are skills and talents and dreams that are lying dormant within you, within all of us. So these tools are proven tools that I share with you weekly. I am sharing with you the mind in universal laws, and everything is governed by law. So we are creating our own reality, whether we know it or not. So why not create the life that we really want? So let's get started. Um, we're going to go back to when we're babies, all right? When we're babies and we wanted something, we would cry. And the adults in our life would respond. They would get us whatever it is that they thought that we needed. And typically it's whatever food or tired or maybe a wet diaper, right? And then as we started to grow a little bit more, when we became children, we knew what we wanted and we would ask for it. Sometimes we'd get it, sometimes not, but we still continued. Sometimes so much so, some kids may pull temper tantrums, right? But as we got a little bit older, our wants perhaps became a little bit bigger and sometimes maybe cost more money. And we may have started to hear, well, where's the money going to come from? How are you going to do that? How are we going to get that? Be grateful for what you have, et cetera, et cetera. Does it sound familiar? And as kids, they don't know the how. They just know that they want something. If we continued to hear those kinds of responses, eventually we gave up about asking, even though the want was still there. We started to suppress the want because we didn't know the hows, right? Because we used to hear, how's that going to happen? How? And what happens too is we start to think logically. We've been taught to live through our five senses, whatever we hear, see, taste, touch, and smell. We react to our outer world. And what we do is we disregard fantasies, imagination, because it was okay when we were children to fantasize. But once we got into adulthood, we had to be realistic. We had to be logical, and we really conformed to the way of living. Think about, kids and teenagers, and maybe up to their, I don't know, mid 20s or so. They had dreams, right? They had dreams. And then at some point, and it's usually around the 30-year point, give or take, they start to accept their fate and they fall in line and they just conform like everyone else. And those dreams and fantasies just go by the wayside. This happens to most of us. And especially if that age you start a family, right? Because now it becomes all about the kids. And for about 18 or 20 years of your life, It's on hold because it's all about the kids at that point and what we keep doing, because if we don't change our habits, we pass them on to our children. We picked up the habits and thoughts and beliefs from our parents, our adults. They picked it up from their adults. It goes back countless generations. And this is what we do. We get so caught up in raising a family and leaving our growth to the sidelines till after they've left home, but we just keep passing on our beliefs to them. So we're creative beings. There's so much more to us. There is an essence within us that is, and I call it spirit. There's spirit within us that is always looking for greater expansion and expression. And it wants to grow and express our wants and our desires into physical form. And this is why we have the gift of imagination. Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich, if you've ever read that book, go back and study it. Don't just read it, study it. And if you haven't picked it up, I highly recommend it. You get this. So Napoleon Hill said that the imagination is the most powerful, the most miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. Wow. And you and I have an imagination. So let's use it. Let's use it. Let's go there. Desire. So let's get into the desire. The desire is the language of spirit. It's the language of that essence within us. Desire is the high octane behind our wants and our whys. And this is why we get emotionally involved with what we want. And it's the desire that's going to pull us through. And sometimes we get that feeling, I know I had this feeling for many years. I knew there was more to life. But I wasn't quite sure what that was. I know I wanted something, but again, I couldn't put my finger on that. And now I realize that is the spirit, that is spirit, or the essence within us wanting to express itself through our purpose and through our goals. So our job is to discover what that is and live our truth. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit about goals. This is the first thing in my program that we study. This is a big one. If you were like me, the way I used to be, goals were for getting, they were for achieving, they were for attaining, and typically they were incremental, logical goals. That's what I thought a goal was. That's what I don't even know if anyone really taught me what a goal was, but that's what I assumed what a goal was. And I've learned that the purpose of a goal is not to get, but to grow. Now, really think about that. They are for growing. That's what the goals are designed for. And many goals are short-lived because, like myself, there were logical goals. And most people set logical goals because they think they're attainable, right? If they follow a certain strategy, if they buckle down, right, and get to work, we believe we can achieve or attain that particular goal. The problem with these kind of goals is, especially if you do this same goal year after year after year. I want to increase my sales 10%. I want to get 10% more income, whatever it may be, right? Because you're doing the same thing over and over, what we tend to do is work harder and harder because we're looking to get more, but doing the same thing. So we're working harder and harder. And these type of goals typically fade away because there's no emotional connection to them. And again, Goals are for growing us. They're for stretching us. They're for getting us out of our comfort zone, off of that damn couch, right? This is why our goal should be something that we've never done before. Think about it. It should be something that we've never done before, and it should really scare us and excite us at the same time. We're not going to know the hows, and the fun is finding out the hows. But this is what happens. It brings us right back to childhood. The how, the how, the how. I've got this dream, but I don't know how. So what do? That dream becomes stillborn. That idea becomes stillborn because we have no idea how we're going to get it. And we start thinking, well, who am I? Who am I to get that? And what we do is we continue to live the same life, which is not a bad life. Everyone is perfect the way they are right now. There's just so much more. There's so much more. Emotional goals, opposed to logical goals, an emotional goal will spark new ideas. A big goal gets you to think differently, right? This is where the growth comes in. If it's a goal you know how to do, then the goal is not doing what a goal is designed to do. When we do something new and we have no idea how to achieve this goal, that desire, that strong desire, will pull us through the obstacles and the roadblocks. And this new goal will start to pull from us new skills and new abilities and talents that were lying dormant within us. This is what the goal is intended to do. So I want you to think, this is where you are now. Okay, you're making X amount of money, you have, your friends, your relationships, your health, whatever, your happiness. It's all here because this is how you live your whole life. This is where you are. This is where you want to go. Okay? Up here is going to need different thinking, different ideas. This is why if you have a big goal and you continue to think the same way, you're going to continue to get the same results. You have to step into, or we have to step into this higher version of ourselves. And we have to ask ourselves a lot of questions when we get up here, right? Because if I always think this way, I've got to think a new way. So how does this person with the goal achieved think? And this is what happens. Okay, this is where I am now. This big goal, it's like reaching down. This is how I always think of it. It reaches down and say, okay, Lou, this is the skills you're going to need. This is the talent you're going to need. This is the environment that you're going to need. This is how you're going to have to start to think. This is the attitude that you're going to need. This person calls for different thoughts, feelings, and actions than this person. This person calls for the new actions, right? Than this person. Does that make sense? But by society's definition of success, it's not about getting the stuff. It's the fun part is to find out who you're becoming, right? How much livingness are you putting into life? And it's stretching yourself to see what we're really capable of doing. And it's those big emotional goals that will create the meaningful and purposeful life that we desire. I think about when I said about putting the livingness in life, there's an author, his name is Thomas Troward, very tough reading, very tough reading, but there's a chapter about getting into the spirit of it. And I use the example of a football game. You can go to a football game as a spectator and say, wow, that was awesome, yay. Or you can go into that football game into the spirit of the game, like one of those people that put on wigs and they paint themselves and yeah. They're in the spirit of the game. They are getting the most out of that game, and their energy is being transferred to everyone around them and the players on the field, right? They're into the spirit of it. This is what we want to do with life. We want to be into the spirit of life, not just kind of tiptoeing through playing it safe, right? Find your emotional goal. Make it a non negotiable goal, committed decision. I'm going to do this. This is where I'm going no matter what. No matter what. This is where I'm growing to. And say no to everything that is not in harmony with your goal. And we must grow into that person as the goal already fulfilled. Again, we have to, this is where we are, this is where we want to go. We need to think like this person, this version of us, of us, of us. Right? Which brings us now to autosuggestion. So, again, it all comes back to when we're kids. What is the inner conversation that we're having with ourselves every day, year after year? You know, it's been said that we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. 60,000 thoughts a day, and over like 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts day in and day out, year after year. So we're actually like living a lot of yesterdays, right? If we don't bring in new thoughts and new ideas. So that inner conversation that we have from us is coming from what we call our paradigms. I could talk about paradigms. That's a for hours. Anyways, again, we're limited with time. We all have paradigms. And what is a paradigm? Our paradigm is our programming, it's our beliefs, it's our fixed ideas, it's our habits. And the paradigms control everything, really. It controls our ability to earn income, how much income we earn, how we spend our time. It affects our relationships, our health, our perception, our creativity, our effectiveness, our logic, etc. So they're very, very powerful. And if we're having those habitual thoughts over and over, the ones that sound like this, I could never do that, right? Here comes an idea. Oh, this is what I want. Poof, I could never do that. I'm probably too old. I'm too young. Who am I? How am I supposed to do that? Where's the money going to come from? Where am I going to find the time? I'll do that when the kids finish school. You know, maybe someday. Does all of this sound familiar? Because I know I used to talk like this to myself. And if we continue to have that same conversation, we're going to continue to remain where we are. Again, tiptoeing through life, just playing it safe. And there is nothing small about us. Nothing small. So let's stop playing small. So how do we change these paradigms? There's 4 ways that we can change a paradigm. First is through constant spaced repetition. The second one is an emotional impact. The third one is through hypnosis. And the fourth one is through energy psychology. So let's just take number 3 and 4, hypnosis and energy psychology. Hypnosis, sometimes it works for people, sometimes not, right? But it's something that we have to go to someone to always change, right? So if we want to change a paradigm, we're going to have to set up an appointment. We're going to have to, put it on our insurance or pay out of pocket. But we have to go to someone to help us change that paradigm. An emotional impact is very powerful. Typically, it's negative. Here's the thing, we never know when it's going to happen. I use an example. I used one in my last training, 1 or 2 trainings ago, about a woman who stood up because she was sharing her emotional impact. And she was a very slender woman. And the reason we bring this up is because her stories was when her and her girlfriend, they were always obese, morbidly obese. And one day they went shopping, and this woman was holding up a pair of jeans, and the salesperson was walking by at that time. And she said, "Please don't try those on. You'll rip them." Usually everyone goes like, "Oh," when I tell that story. Here's the thing, that had an emotional impact on that woman. Now, today she's slender, but is that good or bad? Who knows, right? Because maybe she's really been affected about eating. So either way, it could be good, it could be bad. But it's something you don't have control over, and it's something typically negative, and we don't know when it could happen. Many times people have a fear of speaking in public because it could have been something at one point in their life where they had to speak in front of people, and something happened, something triggered them to now have this fear. So again, an emotional impact, typically negative, and we don't know when they're going to happen. So what do we have control over? Constant spaced repetition. This is when we repeat our goal over and over and over. We burn it into our subconscious mind daily, over and over. And what starts to happen, because mind is the root of all behavior, that's another training, you will start to act like that person with the goal achieved. So we must change that inner dialogue. You can do this. You can ask yourself, who do I need to be with the goal achieved? How would I think? How would I feel? How would I act? What goal achieving activities would I do daily? That's a good one. How do I talk to myself? What's my attitude like? What are my beliefs like? How do I dress? Who do I associate with? Right? So all these questions, because you have to go there, you have to go into your imagination, not this thinking. You got to think like this person. You have to go there in your imagination because you've never done it before. This is what the imagination, this is what the want does. It pulls us out of our comfort zone because, again, there's so many layers to us that we have no idea what they are until a big, audacious goal pulls it out of us. Right? So you want to think from the goal achieved and step into the shoes and into the energy of that new, higher version of you. So time is passing away. We may as well use this time wisely to live the life that we truly want. So as I bring this in for a landing, I'm going to have a little homework assignment for you. So figure out what it is that you want. How do I do that, Lou? Right? Because that's the first lesson that we learn, myself and my clients, when we take the program Thinking into Results. It's the first thing that we learn. We go into a quiet room, leave out all the distractions, maybe put on some soft music, write down all your personal wants, like a shopping list. Just write. Don't think about how you're going to afford it, how you're going to do it, why this, why that. Just write as if it were impossible not to achieve. It's a definite, right? It's a done deal. Just write. Write a personal and write your professional wants. Now looking over both, which one from each side really speaks to you? Which one tugs at your heart? That's the one that you're going to commit to. You're going to make one personal and one professional goal, or maybe just one. I know for me right now, it's professional. My personal is kind of over here. It's still on the back burner and I still tap into it. I'm not 100% fully committed to it yet, but I am with my professional goal. With my professional goal, I am. And then what I do, is I write the words, I am so happy and grateful now that da 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 da. And I am the perfect match for my goal and I love it. So, what I want you to do is I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to read your goal out loud for 5 minutes a day. But make sure you feel the goal. Make sure you feel the goal. In the beginning, just like Napoleon Hill did, but in the beginning, you may feel very silly and you may just be whispering it in the beginning. But look into your eyes, look into your soul, and repeat it over and over again. Again, constant space repetition. We've got to plant and burn this idea, this image into the subconscious mind because that's where our paradigms is. Everything really, like 96% to 94 to 96% of all our results come from the subconscious mind. So this is why we have to plant a new seed. The self-image is in the subconscious mind. We've got to change this self-image to this self-image through spaced repetition, constant spaced repetition. All right, so do that for 5 minutes a day. And then, this is one you're not going to like, write your goal 50 times today. You're getting away with it easy because I had to do it 100 times a day. I did that for a long time. And here's the thing, as you're writing it, you may be, dang, why am I writing this? Why am I writing this? Wrong thinking, wrong attitude. I believe by doing this, I'm going to be coachable. I'm going to do what I'm told to do because I want so much what I want, the desire, right? That desire, once again, is going to pull you through the obstacles, pull you through the roadblocks, pull you through the disbeliefs, and get you off that couch. That's what the desire is for, right? Let autosuggestion become a best friend. Spend time with it. Build a beautiful relationship with it, right? Talk to yourself with love. Talk to yourself with confidence. Talk to yourself with the goal already achieved. And you will be amazed at what starts to happen because the universe starts to conspire with your desire, right? And you will start to see circumstances and conditions in your environment start to shift. You're going to start to look for, because opportunities are going to be coming, but you have to be open-minded and look for the opportunities. Whenever you meet someone, get excited. Whenever something comes, get excited because we never know what an opportunity looks like. It doesn't announce itself. So get excited, start to really love life. And I thank you as we start to wrap up now. Obviously, I could have just gone on, but the time is limited. I do hope that these trainings are helping someone. I hope you get something from this. But commit to your want, commit to your goal. This is your life. And the decisions that we make today define our tomorrow. So do what is right for you. I thank you very much for joining me today. It is with deep appreciation that you're here or you're watching that. Well, you're watching the recording. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.